welcome back. So, in the last video, I went through the song. In this one, I want to break down each part. I want to show you the riffs and some of the technical aspects involved, because it's a pretty simple song from a structural point of view. It's basically just A, A, B, A. But there are some challenges in the playing, and there's some stuff we need to talk about with the picking and how to develop the ability to play in this style realistically. Now, I haven't got time to go into a full lesson about picking. In fact, that would cover many videos. So I will try to give you a basic idea of the things we have to worry about here. I'd like to do some picking videos or some technique videos at some point. I don't know when I would get round to that, but it's something that's in my mind. It would be useful because I just don't see an enormous amount of useful guitar tuition in this style, and certainly not from a point of view of understanding. It's often very academic and it doesn't really cover the real world aspects or the real world context. But anyway, I haven't got time to do it in that kind of detail today. So what I will do is just talk very quickly about the two types of picking that you usually encounter in extreme music like this. You have the fast picking falls into two categories. You have what I would call measured and unmeasured. Okay, so measured would be when you know exactly how many notes you're playing and fitting them precisely to a bar, often locking in with kick drums or just making the riff sound more punchy. So, you know, if you were playing groups of 4, you're playing very specifically groupings. You also have the other kind, which is unmeasured, which is more sort of loose. And both of these are important. That kind of playing gives us kind of sense of drifting across the timing. It's more like a wall of noise. The measured kind is, like I said, much more to do with making the riff punchy and creating an element of clarity in what you're doing. You really need to be able to do both. And in this song there is both. But the problem is that the measured is very hard to develop. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of work. It's quite an enormous struggle actually to build to this point, although you know, the struggle is part of the fun. So what I would say is you need to work with a metronome, and what you have to do is you have to get your hand to learn how to count. Now, when I'm playing fast, I know that's groups of 8s. I know because my hand knows what groups of 8s feel like. Now, I can't count to 8 that fast. I can barely count to 8. But my hand knows, and it knows when I'm playing 3s, it knows when I'm playing 6s, it knows even 7s, 5s. And if you can do that, then you don't need to think about what you're doing because you feel it. It's like it's impossible to explain until you get it. But when you get it, you'll know what I mean. It's almost like another sense. You just feel how many notes you're playing. Now, to build to that, you need to practice with a metronome. You need to work up slowly. Gradually increasing the speed, keep locked in, and just be strict with yourself. You'll get it, but it may take some time. Okay? That's as much as I have time to talk about right now with the picking. But like I said, in the future I would like to do a bit more detail on this because that's barely even scratching the surface. But just remember, you're trying to teach your hand to feel the numbers that you're playing, okay? So, first riff. 2nd fret on the A string. So we're going open on the 4th string. So 2nd on the 5th, open. And then 4th on that string, so then 2, 4, open on the 3rd string, and then 4th on that string, so and then same thing again, move up to 3rd on the A string, on the 5th string. Keep that. try and leave these notes ringing as much as you can. Just let them blend together a little bit to help the dissonance to stand out. And then we have same thing again. So then we go down to the bottom string, 3rd, 5th, open, 4th, 6th, open. Okay? Then it repeats again, and instead of that, we go so we go 5 on the 5th string, 5th fret, 5th fret, 7, 5, and then we move that down to 4, and then we drop to the 4th string on the 6th fret, so 4th string, 5th string on the 6th fret. Yeah. Okay, let's do that fast. I'll do it slow as well, just so you can start to hear how the picking locks in. I won't do every riff at 2 speeds, but this one I think just gets kicked off. Okay. Alright, and the next riff is, yeah. Okay, so up on the 6th fret, 6, 8, 8, 2, 6, 8, 8, 6, then 8 to 9 is trill. Okay. Then we drop to the 7th fret on the bottom string, 7 and 9, power chord. Okay. And then we jump up to hit to the 4th string. It's a power chord on the 4th fret. Then it goes up to 7 and 5. Okay. Then 7 and 5 on the middle 2 strings. 4 and 3. The minor triad. Now there we lose a couple of beats. Okay, this goes for 1, 2. Then it repeats. And we just do the same thing. 7 and 5, and then we just move up a fret. Okay? Right, and then we have this funny little thing in the middle, which brings us back around to the first riff. So it's just on the fourth string, third fret, then up to the next string on the sixth, and then up to the next string on the fifth. And then it moves up, but pitch fast. Okay, do that with a click. I'll do it slow as well, I think, just so you can hear that the picks need to be very precise. Alright, and then we have this middle part, which is all power chords, starting on the 5th fret on the 4th string. Okay, so down to 2, back up to 5, and then up to 7, 5. Okay, that runs around, and then we get to that's just moving minor triads. 5th fret on the 4th string, 3rd on the next string, and then moves down a semitone. You can get the timing, it's really just moving backwards and forwards as it speeds up. Pay attention, because the tempo does actually increase on this point, and it can trip you up when you're moving into the next riff, so make sure that you're aware that the tempo is constantly ramping all the way through this part. Alright, here's the riff. Alright, and then we get to the middle riff, which is, I think, kind of the main riff of the song. It's the high point of the track anyway, and this is where you really need that picking to be sorted out, because without that you won't get the clarity in the riff, and it won't have the punch. You won't really hear the notes as you're supposed to hear them. So make sure that you're doing the exercises to build up your picking to tackle this, because otherwise it's going to be a mess. So 2nd fret, bottom string, 4, 4. Open string on the 3rd. You can also play that with the 5th fret, but it doesn't really matter. I do both. I think on the album I use the open string. So 2, 4, 4, open. 2 on the 3rd string. 2 down the string. Bottom string, open. 3rd. Okay, and then we go 2. Jump up to 4 on the 4th string. You can find other ways to finger this. I think they just jump on the first finger. It's not very natural, but yeah, that's generally how I do it. So 2, 4, 6 on the next string, 7, 5 on the 2nd string, 5, 5, 7. Okay. Alright. Alright, so just to talk a little bit about that previous riff before I do the next one. The harmony there. Why does it sound the way it does, and why it has this strange moment in the middle where it seems to lift slightly, brighten slightly, and then duck back down again, is because we're going minor, 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 major. But it's a major in first inversion, which kind of stops it from being too, you know, too bright and happy. It's like what I would call a disguised major, because it's tucked in. You hear a lot of this kind of thing in Emperor, actually, especially the early Emperor. You hear a lot of major triads and a lot of major tonalities, but they're hidden and they don't sound especially bright or happy. Okay, so what you've got there is this. Very film score-ish if you lay the chords out like that. Played in this context, it's not really, but it definitely takes on an aspect of that kind of quality that's outside of standard music theory, or outside of usual of the norm of straightforward minors and majors and so on, which is always the goal with this kind of music. You want to be getting out of things, but it's just a reminder that major is not something to be afraid of. It's just something to be tackled carefully. If you're trying to make dark music, there's always a place for it, because without the contrast, dark isn't really dark. You need some pinches of light to remind people how dark the rest is. Okay, anyway, the next riff is very simple. 4th fret, 3rd string, down to the 6th fret. That just moves from the 6th to the 5th. Okay. Then we move down to a minor triad, 5 and 3. And then I just play slightly more of that minor chord. Then, power chord on the 3rd. Moves up to the 6th fret on the next string. Okay, and then there's a bar of 3 where we go 7, 6. Back to this. Same chords again, just played in a slightly different rhythm. All right, let's do that with a click. Okay, then we have the same riff from previously, but played up on the 5th fret. So it's 5, 7, 7. This time we will need to use the fretted note because there's no open string for this. 8th fret, then 5, 5 on the 3rd and 4th strings. 3 and 6 on the bottom string. There's a lot of work going on in the left hand on this part. And you have to be continually moving the pick, but keeping those groups of 4 as accurate as possible. Okay, and then jump up, 1st finger, same as we did with the previous, to 7, 9, 10, 8, 10. All right, with a click. Okay, and in that previous riff, you hear that it's gone from the original place where it was 2nd fret, it's now moved to 5th fret. And the purpose behind that is just to give the song a sense of moving forward. It's a modulation, but it's a very subtle one. It's not one that you necessarily hear as much as you feel. It's just this sense that the song is projecting forwards. So the last part here, we go through this again. Then we go down to first open, and then same as the fast riff, we're just playing them 3 notes, and then first fret, third, move up to 4, open 3rd string, and then back down 4th, 3rd, 5th. And it goes back to the beginning. So that's basically it. Let's just do that last riff. Okay, so hopefully that's useful to the people that were requesting this song. If you have any questions, then the comment section down below. If you want to hear something of mine that's not metal, then check out my R Complex project. And I will be doing another video of one of the songs from the bonus songs from the special edition at some point, but at my current speed I'm guessing that will be some point in 2022. So I shall see you then.